Hi everyone, welcome back to RC Pi. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, please click that button and click the bell as well. It helps you, it helps me. Today we're going to be having a look at the FTX Outback Mini 3. This is the Ranger. This will also come boxed up, labelled up as an RGT Adventurer version 2. We're going to have a look at this as a 1/24th mini crawler, ready to run, so everything's in the box apart from the batteries for the transmitter. We'll do a few tests on it, have a look what's underneath, what you get in the box, and let you know how it goes. I've actually had this for about, 3 months, something like that, maybe 4 months, so I can give you a bit of an idea of whether I would recommend it and how it's getting on. See what you think. This is what's in the box with the Outback Mini 3. So a USB charger, lights change on that, going from green when it's charged to red and flashing red and green. That shows you the state of the charge. Takes about 2.5 hours, something like that, to do a full charge on the battery. So easy peasy. Transmitter, very similar to the Outback Mini 2 or Outback 2 Mini. Never sure which way around the name's supposed to go. But yeah, very similar unit, but they have uprated the controls on here so that your trim and your dual rate are on separate analog knobs on there, so that's a lot easier. You've still got a channel 3 button, and you've got a steering reverse in the middle. Same setup as the Mini 2s, with batteries in your handle, so you can swap the handles over, so that's compatible with all the Mini 2s and Mini 3s. So that's nice and easy. Foam on the wheel, so that's nice and comfortable. A good manual, an uprated manual really from the Mini 2. All your usual setup and control things at the start, that's great. Troubleshooting, and then at the back we've actually got some excellent exploded diagrams, parts lists, exploded diagrams of everything with all the parts numbers on. So that's really detailed, really clear and really helpful. So an excellent little manual that, I have to say. Now the car itself, what's underneath this beautiful Land Rover Defender body, or Ranger as they like to call it, because it's not licensed. Let's take those 4 body pins off and release it. No wires to the body because the lights are in the bumpers, they're mounted in the bumpers. Body's got this hard roll bar on there, mirrors, the mirrors which actually rotate, which is quite nice because when you have a tumble then you can just put those back to the original position, and a proper spare wheel and tyre on the back. Now the chassis itself, very similar to the Outback Mini 2, but it is different. Still got these metal ladder chassis rails, got different shock mounts, different shocks on those. I did have a bit of an issue with the springs having been compressed in the box, so I did need to get replacement springs for those because they were very, very soft. I think the ones that you get as a replacement are a little bit firmer, and that's a lot better. The motor has been moved up front, the motor and the initial gearbox going down to a central transmission, then going out through front and rear drive shafts. So that's a bit of an upgrade, moving things forward, getting some weight forward. But the battery is right on the back on here, and actually the mounting isn't quite as good as on the Mini 2. Plus, the battery has been, for some reason, down rated from a 600 milliamp hour to a 520 milliamp hour. Still same connections and so on. This is again a 2-in-1 receiver and speed controller, but this is definitely uprated over the Mini 2s, and it's a lot more sensitive, it's a lot nicer to use. Still says it's waterproof, but again, I'm not one for testing waterproofness on mini crawlers. I don't think there's any need. I want to use them in the house more than anything. Yeah, lights in the front and rear bumper. These wheels are not beadlocks, so the tyres are glued on, so unless you're going to rip those off, you're not putting any weights in those if you want to. I'm not a particular fan of putting weights in these anyway. I think you're putting too much strain on the running gear, but each to their own. Slightly strange front suspension in that if you try and compress it equally, you're binding with that ball joint on the servo. So it's okay going up with one wheel or the other wheel, but all together you've not actually got all that much travel there, which is a bit strange. But it does the job. It actually rides really well. The only concern with this is the fact that these tall body posts kind of give it away that you've got a high body shell. There's a lot of weight up here with this roll cage, so that could be making it slightly top heavy. Another thing on this actually is the power switch. To waterproof it, they've hidden it inside this little rubber cover, and because of where that is, it's very fiddly to be turning that on, trying to get your finger in there to sort that out. So not the best move, but overall really nice little unit. First test, as usual, is going to be the incline. So going up this grippy cushion, starting off at 35 degrees, no issue whatsoever. You can just see that wheel lifting slightly, up to 42.5, front wheel's lifting, but still going up. 45, is it going to make it up there? Trying to apply the power gently, and it failed. So now we're going up a step climb. So just one vertical rise onto another level. Finding it pretty easy early on. Same test as we usually do. So let's see how it compares to those other mini rigs. I'm struggling a bit there. Whether that's the traction from these tyres or whether it's just the makeup of that chassis and the suspension arms on there. But we're up to four bricks high. Is it going to get up there? Bit more welly required, I think. We'll give it some, see what it can do. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Now, it is a nice car to drive overall. It feels nice and smooth. We'll not count that it fell over sideways. It does feel pretty smooth getting the power on. You've got a bit of adjustment on that transmitter as well. And there we are, up it goes. Now, is it going to get up this next one? Struggling somewhat. I think it may have met its match. So I think we're going to have to call that one a day. Now, how can it get over a wall? What's that kind of breakover like? What's the weight transference like from rear to front? We'll have this look from lower down, get that better view. So it's just about still clearing it there. I think this might be the last height where it actually clears. Yeah, we've got a bit of wheel spin there. So can we get it over with a bit of power? Will it then transfer that weight into the front? We've got the front mounted motor in this, of course. So it has got a slightly better front to rear balance. But then there's the problem with the body. So there's a lot of weight on the back of that body. So we're getting into the realms of trying to bounce over, but you know, it's all valid. All valid techniques. If you're trying to get over an obstacle, some we do fast, some we do slow. That's all of you will know if you've ever done any crawling whatsoever. In fact, any off-roading whatsoever. Still doing okay. Now pushing that along. Got to block that base plate so it's not moving along. There is a bit of an issue here with this front bumper. You can see it sticks out quite a lot and doesn't do the approach angle any favours whatsoever. Fortunately, it has got that
little, I don't know what to call them, but the bar coming off the bumper, I suppose it's a bull bar, which is helping it to slide up there. But again, I think we've met our match here, but not bad at all. Next, let's have a quick look at this ground clearance. The usual test, just how many Lego plates can fit under there. 2, no problem at all. Both under those knuckles and the pumpkin. 3, not quite making it. But reasonable for a mini crawler. Now, how well can it get across a gap? I would hope it can do alright with this. But again, that big bumper doesn't seem to be helping it at all. Has it got that acceleration and then the traction to pull itself over the gap? Up to 8 studs. We can't do it that way. We can't do it slowly. So we're going to have to go for some speed, I think. Oh. Yeah, now the back bumper is stuck. So it's always nice to have these bumpers on. Whatever scale you're talking about, whether it's 24th scale like this or 10th scale, it does make them look like nice kind of scale models, but they're really not all that helpful. I've got some trucks that I just want to remove the bumpers on, but they would look a bit rubbish. Now, what a lot of us will be doing all the time, this run over same courses you've seen before. First the remotes, how's it handling all that? We're looking at the flex in the suspension, grip of the tyres of course. Didn't do so badly with that at all. And that, not a bad run, better than most. Little pencils up on the CD case, no problem. Up over these 2 chunky knitted poofs through those gates. Again, the bumper just getting in the way a little bit there, but overall still doing well. Then up onto the most difficult bit of the indoor course, if it can get there. Just having a bit of trouble there. Okay, bit of speed helped. Now can we get round the mobile phone, or is it going to tip over sideways as the others have previously? Get up there, a bit of manoeuvring to be done. Now the manoeuvring is easier because the speed controller is better on this car, but it is still a tricky section. You've got to get right on top of that cushion, try and manoeuvre along there. Is it going to make it? It's a big call, and I thought it had fallen over the back there, but no, recovered, getting round. It's doing all right. You know, of all the attempts on this little course, I think that's the best we've seen so far. Oh, and I think that's driver error. Can it still make it? They all count. You know what? It's only gone and done it. And then got across these squishy cushions. Just kind of having a go at soft ground and up onto that step, which is actually quite tricky because there's quite a gap there. But it's done it. Right, now let's see how it does it in a wall, because some of those were multiple takes. You know, I'll be honest, I do multiple takes of things and often choose the best ones. But I have to say, I think those were a fair representation of what this truck is capable of. You see here the PlayStation pads are, I mean, they're a pretty tricky obstacle. If you've got to 1/24th car yourself, just have a go over 2 PlayStation pads like that. You'd be amazed how tricky it is. It looks like it should be really easy, but by heck it's not. Straight up there though, no problem. Up over the poofs, pretty easy. Yeah. And up onto the sofa. Okay. Hold itself up there well. They are funny tyres, these. They seem to be fantastic grip, or seem to offer fantastic grip on some surfaces, and then, wow, it's terrible on others. But I suppose that's the case for all tyres. You won't find a set of tyres that are good for everything, however hard you look or try to convince yourself. The only sad thing with these tyres is that you can't take them off. They are glued onto those rims. So you need to just put up with how soft they are. You know, you might have otherwise wanted to put a bit of weight in there, or perhaps a bit of foam in there. But overall, they're not bad. They're not bad. I would say that they're set up a bit better than on the Mini 2s. But of course, those on the Mini 2, they are on little tiny bead locks, so you could modify those a bit, whereas these, take them all even. Well, there we go. It's got right round. No issues really. Just a bit of trouble on those PlayStation pads, but I think that was pretty good. Now out into the real world. Out onto these rocks. See how it coped out here. Like I was saying about tyres, you think your tyres are fantastic, and then sometimes you head out onto the rock and whoa, nothing, no grip. But I think these are okay. This is pretty grippy rock, I have to say. It's not like we're driving up slate or something. But that's not looking so good. Lots of manoeuvring to be done. Looks a bit like it's going to fall over. That roll cage on the back, adding all that weight. But no, saved it, tipped it back. Very hard. Whenever you're videoing rocks, trucks going over rocks, it's very hard to give an impression of how big the rocks are and how big the gaps are. And these have got very, very big gaps. I mean, these are rocks that I'm generally using. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. These are rocks that I'm generally using for the 110 scale crawlers. So I'm asking quite a lot without filling all the gaps in with smaller rocks. But I have to say, this little truck going up over this way has done very, very well. Have a quick look how it does going down the other side. If I can get over that top. Looks like the breakover angle is giving a bit of trouble. But there we go. Down onto the other side. Can we stay upright? Or is it going to tip? And it's tipped. And it's tipped. And it got stuck. And it's tipped. So we have got a bit of an issue there, you can see. But everything I've put over this course, I think, has had this same issue. I'm sure if you put a bit of weight in the wheels or on those axles, you could probably get through this fairly easily. But honestly, this is quite a tricky section. So I don't think there's any shame in this little truck not making it. A lot of manoeuvring being done to try and get down there. And can we do it? And now it's turning around sideways. Oh, and after all that, and again, and again. I think we're going to have to just give this up. Oh, bit of speed and it got down. I'm not sure we can be too proud about that though, after the number of rolls we saw. But over most of it, it just drives nicely.
There you have it. The Outback Mini 3. Is it good? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Nice tranny. Same as most of them. You know, it's a beautiful thing. If you're into your Land Rovers, then you're going to like this. All the colours look good. It's capable. The only issue really is that it is a little bit top heavy, so its climbing is put off a bit by all this weight on this sort of corner, so it's not getting up as much as it should do, which is a bit of a shame. A bit of low down weight might correct that, or perhaps you could take the roll cage off. I don't know, that might be a look that you might appreciate. But overall, it's a nice kit. It runs pretty smoothly. The speed controller in this is quite nice. I don't feel it's in need of upgrading really. It's a cool thing, decent tyres on it. Now I mentioned the springs before. This is one of the original shocks. All I did before I replaced the shocks, I stretched out a few of the, not links, I don't know what to call them, but a few of the top bits of each of the springs, and it basically turned them into two-stage springs, and they actually work as well as the replacements. So that is something that you could do, because it is a problem that I've seen on quite a few of these. I know other people that have bought them and they've had the same issue with the springs being compressed in the box. So you can fettle that yourself just by stretching those out. You can even do it whilst it's still on the car. I actually did one last night for somebody, and it improved it no end. Otherwise you get weird body roll. But would I recommend one of these? You know, if you can pick one of these up for £70, £75, I'd highly recommend doing it, because it's a lovely piece of kit. It's a really nice car to drive, and then you can play around trying to sort out that slight top heavy aspect of it. But overall, pretty good. So hope that's helped you. Hope you've enjoyed that. Please don't forget to subscribe, it helps me. Press the bell button as well, and we'll see you again on RC Pie. Thanks for watching.